Hi guys! It's time for me to really quickly wrap up the December prompt for One Little Word, which will then wrap up my One Little Word journey for this year. The reason I say it's going to be a quick wrap up is because I'm pretty much already done. Let me show you how I got this far and then I'll carry on finishing up.
So if you watched last year's December prompt for One Little Word, this will be a super familiar process to you because it is going to be exactly the same except using this year's files. So I've opened up an A4 size document in Photoshop and I'm just going to drag out two guidelines. I want one at 4 1/4 and one at 8 1/2, which will give me my two Traveler's Notebook sized pages. And then I'm going to pull in the three, actually there might only be two, there's two PNG files. So one is Facts and Feelings, and I'm just going to hit return, and the other one is I Want to Remember. So those are the two pages and they're sized for 6 by 8, so obviously they're quite a lot larger than what I need them to be. So I'm going to grab the Facts and Feeling one and I'm just going to pop that to the top corner of my first side of my page and turn off the background so it's easier to see. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to hold down Shift and select both of those layers before I go Command T for transform. And while holding down the Shift key, I am going to resize these. Basically just trying to keep the first one onto the page. So that'll give me, so you can see here, it fits to the guideline, which will mean this one does too. So I can hit return and then just grab I Want to Remember and pull it across. And when I turn my background back on, that gives me my two pages for the Traveler's Notebook size. So super easy. It's not an issue that it's being scaled down because you don't actually want the headings to take up the whole of your page. You're already working on a smaller sized page than the 6 by 8 anyway, so this works out nicely. I want to move feelings down a little bit just to give myself a bit more room for facts. The other thing you could do is move it up to the top so you've got facts and feelings and a bit more space for writing. I'm going to go to Facts and Feelings layer, I'm going to right click it and rasterize the layer. Then use my marquee tool just to select this part of the layer. And then when you grab your arrow tool again, you can move it down. So you can move that wherever you want to. You can give yourself as much or as little room as you think you're going to need for Facts and Feelings. I'm happy with that there. Last year I did show you how to recolor these headings, and if you want to have a look at that, I will leave the link up here for the video to that one. I'm just going to print mine as is, black and white, and go ahead and fill that in. So there's not much in way of a process at the moment. All I'm doing is just trimming out those two pages from that one A4 page, and then I'm just going to glue them straight into my notebook. Although I will say, once again, I ran out of tape runner in the middle of trying to do this. It's like, will I ever be able to complete a process video without running out of tape runner? All I'm doing is sticking those in. I've left the pocket page in the middle because, much like last year, I did want to put a vellum selfie in here, so I did just print one out that I'd taken recently, trim that down and slip it in the pocket.
See, told you it'd be quick. I think the thing is that I'm really ready to be done. I'm really ready to be done with this word. It was a real tough year, it was a real struggle, and I just did not connect with open in the same way that I did with balance in 2018. So every month felt like a struggle, and I just kept feeling like a failure because I wasn't connecting to my word, I wasn't achieving the goals that I wanted to achieve, and was really just focused on getting through the day-to-day rather than trying to progress myself a little bit further. Upon reflection though, some years are just like that. I think some years are just harder than others, and it doesn't help if it wasn't really a word that I connected to, so I'm trying not to be too harsh on myself about that sort of thing, and trying to see it as less of a fail and more as just another step on the path. I do have my word for next year, and I'm gonna choose the word space. It came to me probably the middle of October. Was outside on a walk with Lily, and it just sort of struck me, and the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, and I've brainstormed a little bit about it, and I'm excited. So this year, not the best, but I still am hopeful. I'm still hopeful for a better year next year, and I think that's a good place to be. The plan for next year, I'm gonna skip traveler's notebooks. The first time I did this in 2018, I had to squeeze it into one notebook, so this year I had planned to use 2, but I'm literally only halfway through, so I've only used 1.5 notebooks. So next year I'm skipping notebooks. I have decided I'm gonna use a life crafted album. So it's the general idea of it is still, it's the same size, they're still traveler's notebook pages, but it just gives me way more options as far as page formats. I can use pockets, I can use plain pages, and I don't have to worry about either squeezing it in or having pages left over at the end. So that's my plan for next year. I got this yellow album way at the start of the year and I haven't used it yet, and I'm not sure that I'm going to keep it yellow. I think I'm going to try and alter this in some way. If I do, there will definitely be a video on how I do that, but this is the album I'm going to use. So far, that's my plan. That's all I've thought about too. So far, I was just mostly looking to finish this year up, and I have finished it, so you got to call that a win, don't you? I just wanted to say, you know, thanks for keeping me accountable. It's so much easier to continue on this journey knowing that someone else is going to see it. There's some accountability each month to get the prompts done, and some months I've been super late and some months I've been right on time, and mostly that comes down to you guys. So thank you for keeping me on this path. And I'm excited for next year, and I really hope you will join me there. There are videos for all of these prompts, so I will leave the playlist up here if you haven't seen any or want to look back through the whole album, but let me do a quick flick through for you. Book 1, and this was not so much the first prompt, but as in just an opening page, which I really love these vellum photos. And then all of my reasons why and intentions, which was really interesting to go back through this month, and is probably something I hope I can do a bit more of next year, is just to keep going back, like keeping these goals really visible so I can really focus on what it is that I want to do. Highlight of 2019 for sure, 100%. This little guy, he has been awesome. So started the year on a high, that's for sure. These collage pages are always one of my favorite prompts, and I'm really excited about the possibilities for using that life crafted album for this prompt here, because it is one of my favorites. I really do love putting these pages together, and I think the life crafted album just will give it a little bit more flexibility for size of the pages. I gave up on doing these monthly sort of prompts, and I was thinking for next year I might actually write a to-do list, a 12-month to-do list of things to do, just so that I keep going and I've got some sort of plan to work from each month rather than just guessing and hoping that happens. March was where things took a tumble for the worst. March was a really shit month, and did manage to do the prompt, doing 31 days, but it was bittersweet. I did leave the middle page, and I will just glue those pages together eventually, because I really wanted April's month to have a pocket page, so that I could put this little vellum insert and kind of, it was a lot of writing, it felt like a lot of writing, so it was nice to have something just to lighten it up and give your eyes something to focus on one page at a time. Same goes for the next page. I do love all these colourful bits though. I do want my album next year to have a lot more colour in it. May was an interesting prompt. I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough photos with open. I was feeling really negatively about my word at this point. And once I actually stopped and did the prompt, I realized, no, there were plenty of words. It's just you have to open your eyes a little bit to see them sometimes. June, and another sort of word heavy month, which I lightened up with all of these little pockets of sequins. I still love this ombre look, and again, that's something I can still achieve with that Life Crafted album. It will even be easier because you can take the pages out to do them rather than trying to use the fuse tool in here. And I think that's the end of this book, and then I moved on to my second notebook with one of my favorite prompts. This was a fun prompt to do, sort of art, a more arty prompt, which I love. The journaling ones are great. They do actually get those sort of thoughts and feelings out of your brain, but I do love the creative side of it as well. This is always a great prompt, and I love these little vellum envelopes, and again, I'll still be able to use things like that in my Life Crafted album, but I can just punch holes in them and actually put them into the album. So it's going to end up more like a little mini book, I think, rather than an actual album, and I haven't done a mini book in ages, so I think that will be fun. Letter to myself. It's actually one of my favorite prompts, and I do that when I'm journaling all the time, so this was a really good month. Coming up with things that you were thankful or grateful about yourself. That was a difficult prompt, but it was a really good one, and I think became sort of the turning point of when I stopped feeling quite so negative about my word. I was still ready to move on, but I stopped seeing it as such a fail for this year. November's prompt, and that was a fun one. Again, with the photos, was a bit worried, but I guess it's just about paying attention to what's happening and right now, and so I do enjoy these photo prompts. I'm thinking that maybe on the months that are a little bit more journaling heavy, I might just add in something like this myself, just to keep it sort of more visible. In an abstract kind of way. Like, I'm definitely more a pictures person than a writing person, so I think this is a fun prompt that I might just put in a few more times during the year. And today's prompt, so that's it. That's my one little word journey over for this year. I know Ellie talks about having a ritual to end the year, and really just completing the prompts for me are my ritual. All I want to do now is just pop this back into its cover. I do have a couple more pages in my reading notebook to finish up, and then I can put that on the shelf and call 2019 and open done, and I can get ready to move on to next year with space. Look, wherever you are with your journey this year, I just hope that you're being kind to yourself about it. It's something I struggle with too. We all do, but please just, keep going, keep trying, and just be kind about where you're at. You're doing the best you can. I know you are. Thank you for coming with me on this journey this year, and hopefully I will see you again really soon. Bye, guys.